This is Midweek Politics with Dave Pakman.
So the Olympics have come and gone. United States with the most medals, 37, Germany 30, Canada 26, Norway 23, and Austria 16. Now, for the big deal now that's being made is for gold, Canada actually won. They had 14 gold medals, Germany 10. The U.S. was actually third. I watched a bunch of the Olympics. There's not that much to comment on. Anytime Al Michaels is involved, I always keep an eye out after his flip-flop John Kerry statement during a Monday Night Football broadcast a couple years ago. But really not that much interesting happened. It was great to watch the sports. Something interesting that did happen. What was your thought, Lewis?
Oh, no, yeah, it was fine. The Olympics, it's always good for X number of weeks. You actually have something to watch. After
an event where the U.S. beat Canada, this is just kind of funny. There was a girl who was holding up a sign. And, I don't honestly know if this was Photoshopped or not. It doesn't look at all Photoshopped because of the shading and everything. It looks really good. And hopefully, maybe we can even put the picture up on the screen for our TV viewers. There's a girl all decked out in Canada gear with a sign with a maple leaf that says, "At least we have healthcare." And it's interesting. It's true. Whether the U.S. or Canada got more gold medals or regular medals or what have you, the healthcare situation is certainly one that I know if you don't believe what a lot of the evidence suggests, you would say actually people from Canada overwhelmingly come to the U.S. for healthcare. The evidence doesn't suggest that, and kind of a funny, but at the same time, very, very sad. A Republican legislator is saying disabled children, brace yourself for this, are God's punishment for abortion. That's exactly right. This is Bob Marshall, and he says, well, I'll just play for you what he says, and the audio on here isn't great, so I'll sum it up for you afterwards.
This organization should be called Planned Parenthood because they have nothing to do with families, they have nothing to do with responsibility. 1/4 of all abortions are done by Planned Parenthood in the United States. Okay? The number of children who are born subsequent to a first abortion who have handicaps has increased dramatically. Why? Because when you abort the firstborn of any, nature takes vengeance on these subsequent children. In the Old Testament, the firstborn of every being, animal and man, was dedicated to the Lord. There's a special punishment Christians would suggest.
Okay, so what he's saying is, when you have an abortion, it's very, very likely that God is punishing you by giving you handicapped children afterwards, if you decide to then later have kids. What a nice guy this sounds like. He sounds like an intellectual who really has thought this out really well.
Well, I think we need to, look at some numbers and possibly run a study on that.
He later claimed, actually, he hadn't said what he said. He said, I meant something else. I didn't want to give the impression that disabled children are a punishment for prior abortions. But wait a second, that's exactly what he said. So I don't know where he's getting that it's not what he said, but not uncommon that we see this from politicians.
Amazing that, some of these people hold office nevertheless.
It is amazing. Bibles for porn. This is an interesting story. An atheist group calls an exchange called Smut for Smut, which has prompted protests from Christian students at the University of Texas, San Antonio. Student Monica Coronado says it's offensive to compare pornography to the Word of God. University officials say the atheist group actually has the right to conduct the swap. The UTSA spokesman said, as long as the students aren't violating any laws or the Constitution, they have freedom of speech and freedom of assembly. The Atheist Agenda is the name of the group. They started at the University of Texas in San Antonio in 2005. Their first Smut for Smut campaign blew into a national media sensation, ton of press. I think it's pretty funny, I'll have to tell you. I think it's obviously legally, they are well within their rights to do this, and I just think it's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like a way to really rile up the Bible thumpers.
It definitely is. Senator Inhofe wants Justice Department to investigate global warming hoax. Listen to this clip from the Neil Cavuto Show.
Fox on top of plain old snow coming down even faster and with more fury on a lot more and seemingly everywhere. A few more inches of it in Dallas, on the verge right now of a 30-year record. 2 feet of it in Moscow, a 40-year record. And just a plain old mess of it in the Big Apple, a familiar record. And it is going to get worse, my friends. Talk of a blizzard heading east. And now the U.S. Senator who has had enough of it in Washington. He's not mad at Mother Nature. He's mad at Al Gore. Yeah, Al Gore.
Okay. Nonsense. Incredible. And every time it snows, it's just so funny that every time it snows or it's cold, people start saying, hey, there's no global warming.
Despite it being bitterly cold outside the Northern Plains, we hear a lot about global warming.
So every single time that this happens, and you know what? We've said it many times, the fact that we've gotten no snow here in Massachusetts, and at the same time, there's been record snow in other places, the increasing volatility of weather is also something that could be considered part of climate change.
Right. I've said it before. Global warming is just a change of a few degrees where, at the poles.
It doesn't mean it's hotter. It doesn't mean it's hotter everywhere all year. It means one factor can be that it's just more volatile throughout the year.
It doesn't mean we're going to go into an ice age, within a couple of years.
Absolutely right. Governor Gibbons from Nevada, this is really pretty funny. He was caught at the airport with a woman who is named in his divorce papers. He tried to claim he wasn't with her. He didn't just get off a plane with her. It's incredible. Take a listen from local news.
We met with Governor Jim Gibbons at the Reno airport Monday night. Governor, when we asked about the trip and a possible Reno love interest, he became upset at our questions. Did you go with anyone today?
Well, what's it to you? Yeah, I went with security.
And anyone else?
Well, what's it to you?
Karash became romantically linked to the governor after he sent her 800 text messages in the past. This at a time while they were both married to other people. No one else came with you on this trip?
No one.
Kathy Karash didn't accompany you on this trip? She did not?
No.
She's not in this airport right now?
No.
She was not on that flight?
No.
Despite what the governor says, our cameras caught Karash heading into an airport bathroom. She came out but ran back inside after seeing our camera.
Incredible. It clearly is the woman. If you want to believe the governor of Nevada, you would have to believe they both happened to be on the same flight coming from the same city, but weren't there together. And by the way, right after she eventually did come out of the bathroom, she went ahead and got into the same vehicle as Nevada Governor Gibbons. Incredible. Your emails after this, midweekpolitics.com. Sign up for our website. Sign up for our newsletter, rather. You certainly don't want to miss what's going on. And of course, send in your questions for our upcoming guests.
Midweek Politics with Dave Pakman on midweekpolitics.com.
Midweek Politics is brought to you in part by Just Coffee Cooperative, fair trade coffee from around the world, roasted daily at justcoffee.coop. By Jackson & Connor, classically modern men's apparel in Northampton, Massachusetts on the second floor of Thorne's Marketplace. To find out more about underwriting Midweek Politics, visit midweekpolitics.com.